Engel, the ranking member on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, who just wrapped up a meeting with the Ukrainian Prime Minister. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning.
What could you tell us about your conversation with the Prime Minister?
Well, it was very upbeat. It was very positive. He relies a lot on the United States. He's looking to us for support. He said that no country can give the kind of support that the United States could give, and feels, as I do, it's very important to stand up to Putin and let him know that this kind of aggression is not going to be rewarded or tolerated.
That's one part of it, are these diplomatic moves, these symbolic moves, meeting with the president yesterday. But there's also the question of money, and Congress has so far failed to approve an aid package to Ukraine because there are these competing bills in the House and Senate, with one sticking point at least, reforms of the International Monetary Fund. What do you know about what's going on here, and are these two bills going to be able to be reconciled?
Well, they better be reconciled, and I suspect they will be reconciled. Aid to Ukraine needs to come quickly, and we cannot let it get bogged down in an internecine fight between the House and the Senate. We have lots of aid to provide. The European Union has lots of aid to provide, and I'm very concerned that we send an unequivocal message that we are really willing to put our money where our mouth is.
Let me play for you what Secretary Kerry said in his testimony to Congress yesterday.
It can get ugly fast if the wrong choices are made. And it can get ugly in multiple directions.
And we have a live picture of Senator Kerry, or obviously Secretary of State Kerry, now. But what are your concerns now? What are your overriding concerns? Because one of the questions that I've had, and I've gotten some different answers from members of Congress, is about urgency. How quickly, for example, do these bills, competing bills, need to be reconciled? How urgent do you feel that action is?
Well, it's urgent, and Secretary Kerry is coming before our House Foreign Affairs Committee later this afternoon, and of course we'll be asking him lots of questions about Ukraine. No, it's very important that we do this very, very quickly. I suspect we will, but it's very important. And what's also important is that the European Union extends a hand to Ukraine so that Ukraine will continue to look westward rather than eastward. I think that's very important. The problem that we've had in the past is the European Union has its Eastern Partnership, and while it's made overtures to Ukraine, they've basically said, okay, we'd like you to join us, but you have to jump through these 10 hoops. Whereas Putin says, all right, here's billions of dollars, no hoops to jump through, and we're going to give you cheap energy as well. So we really weren't competing on equal footing, on equal ground. I think maybe we've learned a lesson from that, and I think quick passage of this money from the U.S. Congress will help show that the U.S. has learned the lesson and tell our European friends to do the same.
We're almost out of time, but let me ask you quickly about the referendum Sunday on Crimea, and how concerned are you if Crimea votes to join Russia?
Well, that's a done deal. Crimea is going to vote that way. We reject the vote. We reject the whole referendum. You know, Putin better watch his step, because there are lots of parts of Russia, Chechnya, and some of the parts of Russia where you have the radical Muslims there. You know, once you can start annexing different parts, then there's no end to it. So Putin may find out that he's unleashed a wave that may come back and bite him in the end. So we reject this referendum in Crimea. It's a phony referendum. It doesn't matter how it comes out. We know how it's going to come out. It's going to come out that people want to be attached to Russia, but it's a fraud, and we should reject it.
New York Congressman Engel just out of a meeting with the new Ukrainian Prime Minister. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
That wraps up this hour of Jansing and Company. I'm Christian.